Randy, hey, how are you?
Good, how you doing?
Good, good. Can't complain. We're almost to Friday, so the weekend's coming.
I know. Well, we're working hard here every single day. I'm out here in California right now. It is like there's no, well, Sunday's a day off.
All right. Yeah, I mean, how is it? I'm sure probably a little bit of a weather difference right now from Windsor, or how is
Yeah,
it?
I forgot. I was like, oh my God, the time. I had my bathing suit on. I was in the hot tub downstairs. I like run upstairs really fast. Yeah, it's really nice. Like I heard it was snowing in Canada, so
Oh, wow. So yeah, you got the
yeah.
complete opposite end of the spectrum then.
Yep. Yep. Awesome. It was beautiful. Everybody's great.
Very cool, very cool. Happy to hear. And you got the meals all squared away. Got to be all good on that, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, I got it. They're awesome. They prep me with meals for every single day. It's awesome.
Yeah, good
Everything
deal.
down weight. I dropped a weight cut like I fought at 125 my last fight.
Hmm.
And this one they're doing a catch weight with me at 120, which I'm super excited about.
Oh, okay. I
Yep.
didn't know that. So yeah, that's awesome then. So
Yep.
kind of finding a little bit of middle ground there. But
Yeah.
well, I appreciate you taking the time, Randy. And before we get into things, really, I gotta mention to you, it's funny because we did meet back in Phoenix for your last fight. I don't know if you remember this, but it was after the official weigh-ins. I was in the hotel lobby and I was just working on things after weigh-ins, and you came up to me and you asked, "Are you?" I think this is what you said. "Are you one of those interviewer guys?" And I was like, "Yeah, I am." You're like, "All right, we're gonna be talking soon." I was like, "Did I do something wrong?" Do you remember this? And what's the story behind this? I've been wondering ever since.
I don't remember. And that's before I got my face punched in and kicked in, eh? No. I was so happy to be there. Like I was super excited. I don't even know. I think that whole week was just like
It's a blur.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really excited to do it over because I feel like everything's going to be different this time. Like everything. Like I feel like this is my Bellator debut, you
Well,
know?
well, yeah. I mean, you're gonna be in Hawaii, which is pretty wild.
And it's for my birthday too. I'll be
Oh
there for my
wow!
birthday.
Like
It's so cool.
fighting on the day or like one of the days
April
before?
25th is my birthday.
Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
so that's exciting to be in Hawaii.
Yeah, pretty good precedent. Can't go wrong
Yeah,
there. Are you?
yeah, we were locked down the last two.
Mm. Yeah. So are
Yeah.
you gonna plan to stay a little bit then? Get the full vacation out of it?
Yeah, we're staying till the 27th.
Okay.
So that's pretty,
Oh yeah. All
yeah.
right. So like a
Yeah,
full week or so.
exactly. Yeah.
Very nice, very nice. But I want to ask you about training at CSA though, because obviously far from home, and I mean obviously plenty of great fighters there, and Coach Kirian, he's amazing. When did you kind of start doing that, and what prompted you to go there in the first place? Because like I said, a little far from Canada.
Well, and coach always says that he was second choice, but he definitely was not. I've been following CSA for a really long time, and just there's a girl here that always posts the combinations. I just love how they flow together. So it was somebody that I was watching, but my coaches all knew American Top Team because they're affiliated with our gym in Windsor. So we went out there, and then while we were there, we were supposed to be there for 2 weeks. The pandemic hit, and then we had to come home early. So then throughout the pandemic, I got signed with Bellator. And then when I was looking to get a fight, we tried to go back to American Top Team and they denied us.
Mm.
Shortly after that, I dislocated my elbow. So I had to have reconstructive surgery on that. And then that's what put off my Bellator debut for a while. So then when we came back to the drawing board, it was kind of just like, okay, where are we going to go for this training? Because we definitely needed some other eyes on me.
Mm-hmm.
So I just said, you know what, I'm just going to reach out to CSA, and the worst they can tell me is no.
Right.
So I just did it, and he called us within like 30 minutes and told me I could come down anytime, and I was ecstatic. It was exciting. So coming here, like, there's some days I come home, I can't chew my chicken because my jaw got cracked, but it's like, this is like, I love it, I love it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, plenty of great people to be around, and I'm curious who you kind of work with the most because I know plenty of those girls. Shinju goes there every now and then, right? Jessie Jess, Kanako when she's got camp and what have you. But who you kind of train with the most when you're there?
The most, I definitely, Bessie. She's gone this week, unfortunately, but I worked with her a lot last week. Des, she does the Muay Thai. She's awesome. Carla, Amber. Yeah, Shinju actually she was at our gym yesterday. So they're a really great group of girls. It's so nice to get like so many different bodies to roll around with, because I don't get that back at home.
Right. I know a little bit different circumstances, because do you still go to Michigan Top Team? Is that around there?
Yeah, Michigan Top Team is it's about 30 minutes from my house. It's not far at all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's good to, like, I'm going to be able to come back and like take what I learned here and then try and implement it when I get home.
Of course. And might be silly to ask just because she's from the same area, but are you familiar with Randa Marcos at all? I think people probably, think of her as the Windsor fighter since she's been around for a while, but do you know her?
I know her, yeah. She's not nice. She's not a nice person. But you know what? To each their own, I guess. She's got her own stuff going on that we don't know about, but she's not my friend.
Okay, there we go. We'll leave it at that. So,
yeah.
Was just curious. You guys are one letter off as well, Randy and Randa. So.
Oh, I've heard it plenty of times. Yeah.
But we mentioned the Phoenix fight, Randy, which was that one with Samika, which unfortunately didn't get your hand raised, but it was a pretty great fight. Both of you always put on a good show, and then meeting together, of course, didn't expect anything less. But having had plenty of time now to look back on that one, I mean, what are kind of the biggest takeaways from it?
I don't like Samiko's jab. That's for sure. That was a big thing. But the biggest takeaway for me actually was like to realize how much work I need to do on my mental health, because I had to, while I've been here at CSA, there's so many things that they try and teach me and get me to do. And then the other night I was just hanging out in my room and I decided to look back on some of my fights, and I watched one of my fights that I remember everything about that night. Everything was perfect. I remembered how calm I felt. I remembered the type of music I was listening to. And I don't know why I went and I changed all that stuff. Like, I had my cornerman who is my head coach, Manny. He gives me a sense of calm, and I seemed to think that he was making me not feel calm. So I wanted him out of my corner. So it's kind of just like looking back on that and like wishing that I had better mental health at that time, but I didn't. And it's okay, because I'm so young in my career. I have a chance to come back. And I knew what I really needed to work on, and that was my head and my cardio too. That was another thing. I moved up a weight class. So I usually fight at 115. And then I got signed at 125. So yeah, it's really nice to be able to eat things that you usually don't eat, but your body's not used to carrying all that extra weight than just to drop it. So I'm not worried so much about my weight now. I'm running, I'm doing everything that I should be doing that I usually do for a fight camp.
Well, yeah, I wanted to mention that to you because you fought as low as atom weight before, right? So
I never fought atom weight, no.
Oh, okay.
No.
Internet
I don't know if
lies.
you've seen how big my ass is, but I could never get down to 105. No way.
All right, so no, nothing below straw weight then. But
No.
I mean, what I was getting at though was like, you're having the catch weight next with 120, so like, do you feel like, is that the right fit? I mean, if you could maybe somehow convince Bellator to do 120, would that be perfect for you? Are you going to try and like adjust the body to be as good as it can be for 125? What's kind of the thought with finding the sweet spot of the weight,
Well, definitely, if they would let me stay at 120, I would do that all day, because I'm very comfortable. I don't feel gassed or out of breath when I'm training. Like, I feel I'm good. This is a good weight for me to carry around, and I'm used to it. Even before I started ever training, like I was carrying around maybe 130 of not so much muscle, but I was carrying around that weight. So it's a comfortable spot for me. But I mean, whatever my management team thinks is good, I'll always listen.
Yeah, we'll make it work one way or another. Right? So,
absolutely. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, and mentioning the mentality kind of side of things, I'm curious, are you kind of in that case when you think about how you changed things, a subscriber to, there's always the debate about, is MMA more mental than physical? Like, or is it perfectly balanced 50-50? How do you kind of look at it with your experience?
Well, you definitely need to be in shape. That's for sure, because no matter what, you need to be able to survive, because you get put in critical moments where you like start thinking, and then maybe sometimes you forget to breathe, but you'll be able to catch that back if you're used to adjusting your diaphragm and getting all that back in check when you are tired. But watching my performance and understanding how I felt in there, and I know for me it's a higher scale, and maybe for some others it might be different, but for me mental health is more important, because I know, like, I'm in the gym all the time. I'm in the gym every single day, twice a day. But that didn't show. So that's something that I think is more important.
Yeah, totally understandable. And when you look at, the upcoming fight with the Hawaii kind of platform, and you said making it feel like the actual debut, is that more pressure in that case then, or is it like relieving to at least know you did, the Bellator fight already went through that maybe blur of an experience, but how is it in that regard?
I feel like in that regard, I feel like it's just, I'm going to go in. I already know what to expect. I don't know. I say I kind of have like social anxiety, like going out. I have to like prepare, like, Randy, you're going to have small talk with people, and these are things that I've worked up to over time. So now, like, it's like, I remember the feeling I had that morning, and it's not like my whole entire life is going to come rushing back to me that morning again, because that happened. We know what you've been through. Move on, bitch. Like, let's go. Sorry for swearing.
No, you're good.
But like, I'm not going to have the same reaction as I did last time. Like, I remember, like, I was sitting in my room and staring out the window. Then I called my best friend, and then I started bawling my eyes out. Like, I'm about to go to war, and I'm crying like a baby. So I'm like, this time I can't see that happening, because everything is just, I have clarity.
Yeah, well, that's definitely awesome. So, are you full time in an MA now? I know that you had the massage therapy thing kind of going. Are you still doing that?
I'm still doing that.
Okay.
I'll never stop doing that. I love my job.
You think that's kind of a relief too, to not put like over stress or think about MMA full time?
I think it's so nice, and like, oh my God, my clients are amazing. My boss, all my coworkers, everybody's just awesome. It's a really nice group of supporters that I've built for myself. I'm feeling like shit, I'm going to work and I'm going to feel great. So it's a good balance. I mean, I'm not working the hours that I used to. I used to massage 25 to 30 hours a week. Now I'm about 15. So still having that balance. But when fight's coming, I'm massaging less, maybe 3 hours a day. And so I can get my training in the morning and at night.
Does that kind of help you at all when like you're sore and, like, let's say the leg is feeling a little bit, messed up? Can you take care of it yourself, or is it like not the same?
Absolutely. I got my 2 girls back at home that, like, honestly, I can call them at 9 o'clock at night, and they're like, come over. And I had my girlfriend massage me for 3 hours. Like, I'm so spoiled. I'm so lucky.
Yeah, so, you got to pay extra for that, Randy. Jeez.
I like my friendship so worthy.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So as for this fight specifically, Maraya Miller, however you want to say her name, are you familiar with her at all? I mean, I don't know if you're one of those people who focuses a lot on the opponent yourself, or like, I'll let the coaches worry about it. It's what they do.
I usually am like that, but I've been really starting to try and understand MMA better. So I have been watching her fights, and I have been breaking down what she's doing. And I'm watching what she's strong at, and I'm watching what she goes for, so that mentally, like, I can be prepared too. I think anyone who watched any of my fights, will see that I load up from China to throw my right hand, and then they can kick me in the face. So, that's something I've obviously worked on, so it's not going to happen this time. But yeah, that's something, like, you kind of study and kind of just see, like, they have little habits that you can kind of capitalize on and be prepared for. But really, at the end of the day, you can never be prepared for a fight. Like, I was sparring today. I went in good mentality. I got kicked in the mouth, and I almost lost my tooth. Like, it's wiggly. But it's fine. It'll be good. But I'm like, shit. I said that wasn't going to happen. It might happen.
Hey, you got to be prepared for everything, right? That's the
Yeah.
unpredictability.
Mhm.
So,
I just want to be able to smile with all my teeth.
yes, that's
Yeah.
always a good thing to have. So, well,
Yeah.
uh, I appreciate you also mentioning the story that you sent to me the other day. So, I mean, just to kind of get into that a little bit, sounded like a very crazy thing that you went through. I couldn't quite tell when the timeline was, but it seemed like a decent period of time ago with the
Yeah.
ATV accident that you had. Um, just kind of walk me through this a little bit, Randy, because it was a very wild story that you went through.
Yeah. Yeah, I actually have been like, since I've been here too, I've been really like focusing on it. And that's also something that's also given me my strength too. Cause I'm like, you can sit and watch other fighters and you can look at all these other stuff and try and get inspired by them. But really, you should get inspired by yourself because that person is there and you're with you all the time. So I'm sitting there and I'm realizing that at a point in my life where um, I would say maybe, and some girls struggle with insecurity. I had 150 stitches in my face. My head was shaved, and oh my God, my face was so ugly. But I threw a bandana on, and my ass went to school 2 weeks after, So I know that I'm tough. I know that I'm brave. Um, the boy that was with me, like I have 3 kids myself, like 6, 8, and 10. And I look at my 8-year-old son and I can't even imagine him going through what the boy went through. His name is Brandon, with me because what had happened, we were on the 4-wheeler and I spoke with him this week and he said, he was like, you were like, watch how fast I can make this thing go and let me know what number I get to. So he said he remembers it being full, like full speed.
Jeez.
And I didn't have a helmet on because we only had one helmet. So he was wearing the helmet. And there was a gravel road that was kind of slanted because the water, so that the water could trail down. So when I made it go, I got sucked in to the forest. And there was a big tree branch that smashed off his head. And then it clipped me and knocked me out and I landed on top of him. And the 4-wheeler flew. It got lodged in between 2 trees, about 5 feet up. And he said he got up and he looked at me, and I must have been like my scar side down because he didn't see any blood, but his leg was bent behind his body, and he had to crawl. I think it was like 10 yards, something like that, to scream for help. And then he said, and this is crazy because, as I was doing cardio the other day, like I was imagining it came back to me. Like I remember waking up and just screaming because of the pain I was in. I broke my back. I split my face open. I had road rash head to toe. I broke all my teeth. So I remember waking up and screaming. And then it was like, I was thinking about my fight coming. And I remember Sumiko screaming after she finished me. I was like, where does that scream come from? And I fucking realized where that scream comes from because when I thought about it, I felt like I wanted to scream in victory. Like I should have died when that happened and I didn't. And I'm here and I'm a professional MMA fighter and I'm getting to go to Hawaii for free. And, like it's just all these things like I have pushed me to realize like you are a fighter no matter what. So, yeah, it was a crazy story. I ended up spending 3 nights in the ICU in Alpena, Michigan. I got stitched up there. And then when they took me home, I don't even think I did any physical therapy because at that time it wasn't important.
Mm.
So that's why I can't wipe my own ass anymore, but it's okay. I'm just kidding.
I was gonna say, hold on.
You didn't know whether or not to laugh. You're like, ooh. Yeah.
Got me.
No, but I always get awkward and then I have to make a joke.
No, I appreciate that. So I do the same thing. So same wavelength.
Yeah. So yeah, it was really cool. Everything's like really adding up because, we're flying out April 17th to go to Hawaii. That is my 3-year sobriety date.
Congratulations.
So I'm going to be celebrating that. Thank you. Yeah, so I'm gonna be celebrating that, and then my birthday's on the 25th. So, like I'm gonna give myself a present. Freaking give yourself a W. You deserve it, So I just like you have to stay focused. Just focused. I can't say all my tricks though.
Well, of course, no, I wouldn't ask you to, but I mean, with all that in mind, I mean, wow, it's like it's kind of lining up. Like I don't know if you're a believer in these things are maybe meant to be or whatever, but when you put it all together, it's like it's not the worst timeline, right?
It's freaking awesome. I definitely do think like that. I do. So there's like that's why I'm like a flood of like happiness, and it's not like emotional and sad. It's like hell yeah, this is for you, babe. Go take it.
Yeah, we made it.
Yeah.
Here we are. So,
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
I mean, as for when that happened though, and how bad it was, and the potential, you could have died, right? Do you remember like after it happened, like because when you were messaging me, you said that it was worse than you realized it was, talking to what, the mother of Brandon, I believe it was. Um, so like, how much do you actually remember, like when it was happening?
I remembered, like I said, I just when the boy like Brandon told me about the screaming, I was like, oh my god, I do remember that faintly. But there's like something that I remember clear as day. And I was telling her this that I remembered sitting there and I couldn't control myself. I was just spinning and making a noise that I couldn't control. And I remembered her grabbing her face and screaming. But she said to me that she was covering her own ears because she couldn't hear how loud she was screaming herself because she was terrified. I was having a seizure and blood was just flying out everywhere. And she had to go get my dad to hold me. I was just like, I have a daughter close to that age. I couldn't imagine. It's
Yeah.
crazy. But yeah, it was worse than I thought. And I didn't know, like when the police showed up, they told them like if I died or if one of us kids died that they're going to be charged with murder
Oh wow.
because they didn't know. Nobody knew if I was going to die or not. So
Yeah, I mean that's definitely very wild.
yeah.
So
Yeah, it's crazy, but it's like I'm here. I'm here and I'm able to tell the story and he's able to tell the story. And actually, Brian just messaged me because I shared the article with him and he told me that he's going to bring Brandon. They're going to try and bring Brandon to one of my fights.
oh wow.
I'm like, that is freaking, how can I repay you for saving my life? Here's the list. But I mean, it's definitely an experience I can provide him with, which is that's amazing.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, what better way? Um,
Yeah.
so just for the timeline clarity, were you in high school when this happened? I'm still a little bit confused about
Oh yeah, I
timing.
was 13 years old.
Okay.
It was Labor Day weekend of me going into grade 8.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
All right. So
Yeah.
that kind of adds that extra layer of trauma to it. Um,
Yeah. Hmm.
and being a mother yourself, I mean, yeah, that kind of really flips the perspective, being able to look back on it, I'm sure.
Oh, wow.
Um,
Yes.
but with that and where we are now, Randy, to lighten up a little, I mean, how is juggling motherhood and MMA with along with the massage therapy? Like, how are you doing this?
Actually, you know what? That's a good question to ask because this was also a mind shift that I've had. Because, last time I came to CSA, I felt very guilty. I felt like I was taking time away from my family. My little sister is going through a lot and she was going through something at that time that, I knew I couldn't be there because I was planned to come out here anyways. So that played a huge role. I felt guilty the whole time. And then, when I came back and after my fight, I ended up sitting down and having a talk with my daughter. And because I realized, it's so cliche to say, but like I suffered from abandonment issues myself. So I was afraid that my daughter was going to feel that way too.
Mm,
But my daughter's not going to feel abandonment from me leaving for a couple weeks at a time to fulfill a dream that one day is going to pave the way for her. So it's we've as she's getting older, we can have these conversations, and it's been very, very helpful with me coming here. So this time, you know, we FaceTime every single day. She tells me all about her day, her tests, all that stuff, and I don't feel bad. So it's like I definitely am able to balance this very well with the understanding of my family.
And how do they, or like did they kind of react to seeing you fight for the first time? Because like for me, I can't imagine watching my mom fight. That's like an insane thought to me. So like, was that difficult or has been difficult for them at all?
You know what the crappy part is that I think she walked in on the end of it. Like,
Okay.
because I kind of asked her dad, like, I don't really want her to watch me fight yet. Like, I feel like I need to find my groove and like do what I am able to do. I don't want my daughter seeing me get cut and then like think I died on the floor. Like, I know my mom cries. My mom cries all the time. I know it's hard for her for sure. And then I've had like uncles that refuse to watch me, and then I have uncles who are so excited to watch me. So yeah.
And what was your mom's reaction when you said, "I want to fight, mom. I'm gonna go punch people and get punched"?
I think, you know, both like no, my mom didn't realize what it was
Ah,
because, you know, when I got into fighting, I was at my rock bottom in life. Like there was no, I couldn't find a way to go any deeper. So when I walked into the gym and then I started doing the classes and I really, really enjoyed them, we were doing a thing called technical sparring. And so that's like, you're not hitting anybody hard. I'm really bad at that. Like I think I just wind up my whole body and I throw and I knocked down one of these big football players. And so coach asked me, he asked me if I would stick around after class and do pads. And then I was like, yeah, that sounds awesome for sure. So I did pads with him and he was like, holy shit, like you hit like a Mack truck, but I look like an idiot because I didn't know how to throw. But he asked me if I was interested in fighting. And I said yes. But at the time I was still drinking and, you know, my life was a mess. I was in subsidy housing and I didn't have a job. What did I have a job? Oh, maybe I just started working. I was working as a sales rep at a gym.
hmm.
But like before that, I had quit my job. I worked security for 3 years. I quit my job. I had nothing. So it was just kind of, I don't know if they thought I was going to take it serious because they knew like how far gone my life went. It veered. It's like the four-wheeler.
Oh boy, yeah. There we go. Full circle.
Yeah. Yeah. But I know she's proud of me because I know she can see my mental growth, my monetary growth. Like, you know, we bought a house last year. Everything is just, life is beautiful, you know?
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah, the roller coaster's done.
So was that kind of your introduction to MMA then? You just kind of went in the gym and started throwing hands, or like did someone tell you about the sport? Like how did that kind of come to be?
Yeah, my dad, he actually did training his whole life, and then I think that was an attempt to bond with me because we didn't have a good relationship. So I think that was like, hey, you know, maybe you can try this. It's a good outlet, and he won. So good job. You did something good, Dad. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And
Yeah.
I mean the sobriety too that you've mentioned, like so you got sober mid kind of MMA career then, right? You said 3 years ago. So still were doing whatever while fighting at first. What was kind of the point, you know, that made you decide, all right, let's knock this off?
So this is my second time being sober.
Okay.
So the first time I lasted almost 2 years. But looking back, I remember. So first I stopped because I stood in my best friend's wedding, and that night I looked beautiful, classy, and then I got so drunk that I ended up downtown by myself without my clutch, crying. So I was very embarrassed by that. So then I decided, okay, that's enough. I don't want to drink anymore. So I stopped then for about it was just about 2 years. And then I remember how excited I was to drink again on my 28th birthday. Sorry. I was 2018. So I got too excited to want to have that first drink. And I knew it probably could have been an issue. So I was pacing myself with it. But then we ended up going away on vacation, and the whole week I didn't drink. I was eating healthy. I was in fight camp. We were in the BVI. So I was being great. And then throughout the week, like everybody we were with was drinking. And then the last night I was like, screw it, I'm drinking tonight. I remember I ordered like a drink and it had like 7 different vodkas in it. And
oh, wow.
I drank 2 of
extreme.
them. Yeah, I drank 2 of them. And then I woke up the next morning and it was just, I didn't remember anything. And it was just, I'm done. There's no more. I'm like, you look at yourself and look at other people. And when you have respect for yourself, and then you can look and you see other people when they're just so intoxicated, they embarrass themselves. I'm like, if I would be embarrassed if that were me. So I just don't want to do that.
Yeah, that's certainly fair, and I kind of felt that way this past weekend. So, we'll see if I can get on.
I would have been watching you and judging you. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, totally. Happens all the time. So, it's fair game, right? I mean, fall asleep with your shoes on, puke around, who knows, it's just what
it's not a good feeling. I honestly, like this, there's so many different things in life that give me that dopamine feeling that I'm like, I don't need it.
Yeah, just got a matter of finding those things, right? So it's a process. That's what life is, right?
Mm-hmm. So absolutely.
So also, Randi, I mean, I noticed following on Instagram that there's like this slow blood kind of condition that you deal with where it goes slowly to your hands. I don't know if that's gone, but I remember seeing you post about it one day. And I was like, oh, that's interesting.
Your homework. I'm impressed.
Oh, that's right.
It's called Raynaud's disease. So it's just whenever I'm in the cold or like grocery shopping. It's kind of chilly actually out here today. So I got it in my one finger, but I lose all the circulation, like the blood in my fingers and my toes. And then if I'm long enough, it goes to my mouth, which I can't move my mouth properly to talk. So yeah, it sucks. That's what sucks about living in Canada. Like the winter time, like it's so sad. Like I hate the winter. I hate the cold. So being here, it's like, I'm so excited. And then when we go to Hawaii, it's going to be so nice. And I'm just going to have blood. It's going to be great.
Well, I mean, I was curious about that though, because, if it's like specifically a cold thing or whatever, it doesn't affect like training or regular everyday life too much at all.
No, not at all. No, it takes me a little bit longer to warm up because like when you want to start hitting pads, it feels like you're just smashing your bones when they're still cold.
Yeah.
So I just take a little bit longer to warm up.
Okay. All right. So that's could be worse then.
Yeah, definitely could be worse. It doesn't keep me in bed.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's good to know. And I always love nickname stories, Randi. So you're the Rose City Phoenix, right? How did this come to be? Where did you get this nickname?
Oh my God. They were calling me ruthless for the longest time. And I was just like, in my mind, like, I'm not ruthless at all. I'm like the furthest thing from ruthless, but I understand how they want me to be ruthless in the cage. I get that. Like when I fought Sumiko, she hit me. And do you know what I said? I said, good job. Who does that? You'd be like, no, I'm going to hit you back. Like, but I need to, that's something I'm working on, is being a little like more gritty in there. So this was something that actually, like, every single day I have a training partner that would come to me and say different fight names. I'd be like, no. But Windsor is actually the Rose. We're known for the Rose City.
Okay.
And Phoenix is exactly like, I feel like I was given a chance to be reborn and just start again and live my life the way that I was supposed to. Because if you met me 10 years ago, you would have never put 2 and 2 together, because I am not the same person at all. So definitely
risen from the ashes, you could say.
Absolutely. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, were you athletic at all though, like growing up? Did you play other sports or anything like that?
It's funny. Jesse always says to me to be athletic because I just stand there
Be
like a
athletic.
sometimes.
That's
Yeah, be
just what
athletic.
Jesse would say.
Yeah. And she like I back in grade school I ran track. I was on the relay team. Like I was a sprinter. Long distance running I hated. I did judo for 7 years when I was little, and I competed in Ottawa for those. And I always took gold. I was very strong. I had like this freakishly strong strength. I don't know where it came from. But, whoa, that led me to be very successful with that. But then when I got into high school, I started getting bullied, and then I lost my interest in doing that. I lost interest in everything, to be honest. So I stopped doing everything. Did some recreational stuff, and yeah, I was a loser. I look back and I would call myself a loser. So I'm glad. Like, I know I always liked working out. Like when I was old enough to get a gym membership, I got a gym membership. I would hit that elliptical like you thought I was running from a cheetah. I don't even know where I was going, why I was going so fast and so hard. But looking back, I'm like, that was an outlet to let go of all my anger. Because if anyone recorded me on there, they'd be like, where the hell was she going?
You know, it's all one spot, right?
Yes. Yes.
Uh,
Oh, that's funny. You're witty. I like it.
I try,
Like,
try,
yeah.
but yeah.
Yeah. I wish I did more things. Like I said, like, like I started, I had my first MMA fight when I was 25. I started taking training seriously probably when I was 25. If I was younger though, like I was like, oh, imagine how much better I would have been, but it's okay. Everything happens for a reason.
Exactly. Takes time. And so
Mm-hmm.
got plenty still left in the tank. But
Yes. Yeah.
I've taken plenty of your time, Randy. So I appreciate it greatly. And I'm very excited to get to share your story. And I appreciate it so much that you would trust me to do so. But before I do let you go, I always love to ask this question to fighters. And I think it's a great one for you, considering all that we've talked about. And it's always a very tough question. So get ready. But if you didn't get into fighting, what do you think you would have ended up doing aside from the massage therapy, like job wise, or maybe however you want to look at the career perspective? What would you be doing right now instead?
I'd be a stay-at-home
Stay at home mom?
mom. No. Like imagining my life without having all these busy things. Stay-at-home mom. And I'd do yoga and Pilates. Yep.
All right.
Honestly, to be honest, like massage therapy is that's my dream job. Like I have the best job ever. So I'm really glad I would be doing that. Like before I was kind of going down the personal training path. But to bring it back to massage, I know at the end of the day, I like when people are in pain and I can make them feel better. It really does something for you. So
Giving back a little bit, right?
Absolutely. And people give me so much that I'm so happy to give back.
And everybody loves to feel good. So not that you can't beat a good massage, but I guess also before I let you go, I mean, how did that come to be in the first place? You said you were doing security stuff, like very far off from massaging people.
Yeah. I was in school for policing when I was 20, and then I got pregnant. And then it became too much with my lifestyle, and so I dropped out of the program. I had my daughter, and then for a while I didn't know what I wanted to do. So then I started working at the gym. Then I started learning about working out. I started working out a lot myself. I was like, oh, I want to train people. I took a couple courses out in Toronto, my fascial stretch therapy, and then Derby training systems. So I became a personal trainer. And then one day I was doing fascial stretch therapy on somebody at the gym. And, it was $90 an hour, and that was cash. And if you didn't have, you could never get it covered by benefits. So someone had just said something to me, like, hey, if you're if you go to school for massage therapy, I could send you so many people. You'd get everybody's benefits. And I was like, oh, you're right. And my head coach, like he even would tell me, like, he didn't even want to get me sponsors if I wasn't going to school, because I thought school wasn't for me. I was terrified of school because I sucked at it. Always.
Same. We're on the same page here.
Yeah. Yeah. I was like, I hate school. It's not for me. But then when I went into school for something that I loved, like learning about the body, I could talk about that all day. So that was something that, that's what inspired me. And then I fell in love with it. So it's all hand in hand.
It's crazy how being passionate about something can really motivate you, isn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Like for myself, I took a brief period away from MMA where I kind of quit and went to go teach English in China, speaking of and winding up from China. But ultimately, I didn't want to be a teacher. So I was like, oh, well, not very happy doing this. Place was great and all that. But then you come back and look at us now. So funny how that works.
It's a great experience. It's something that you needed to realize that you're not like missing out, because one day you might look back and be like, what if?
Yes, exactly. And funny enough too, well, maybe not so funny, but it was right before COVID, so I left just in time. So yeah.
Oh, no.
So a lot of people blame me. They're saying, "Huh, very,
I was just gonna say that.
very, very coincidental that you left right before." And like, I didn't do it, I promise. All right. Well, I will leave you to it. I appreciate it so much, and again, this was awesome. Been wanting to chat with you since you kind of confronted me in the hotel lobby, as I said. Worried that I pissed you off or something by talking to Samiko. Who knows? Yeah.
My braids, I looked like I was ready to fight all week. All right. Awesome. Nice talking with you.
Yep. All right. Take care.